nice to be here. I'm really excited to be at Open Source Monitoring Conference. It's my first time. I've never been to Nuremberg, so yeah, super cool. Also, I want to thank the organizers, Marcus and Bernd and all the team. They're really like a great team, and I think they made us feel extraordinary up so far, so kudos to them. A big applause. I'm honestly focused mainly on observability. This is what I do on a daily basis. I also like machine learning, AI, the new trends, and open source projects. I do support women in tech, so if you're a girl in tech, yoo-hoo, go for it. Right, so what we have today here in the agenda, I'll go through what is EQS Group, mainly like the profile of the company. I'm not interested in presenting anything from this company, it's just like we are focused on the profile of the company. Then I'm going to discuss, let's say, its particular architecture. It's a hybrid architecture. Then the notion of private cloud and how are we using it and why we are using it. Then open source observability. What are the challenges we face with observability in general and open source observability, and like what will be our future plans. So let's start. So EQS Group is actually an international cloud software provider in the areas of corporate compliance, investor relations, and sustainability reporting, and is headquartered next to Nuremberg in Munich. It's founded more than 20 years ago. It has quite a presence in the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and internationally in US, UK, France, Spain, Denmark, Hong Kong, and Italy. And it's focused mainly on issues like whistleblowing, data protection, GDPR. Why is this really relevant to today's talk? We're going to see, because it links with the idea of private clouds and why EQS Group is using it. So private cloud is used quite a lot in European Union. In the region, in the regions in European Union, because of very strict business regulations, so the data needs to be stored and maintained locally. Also with private cloud, we detected some issues, challenges around monitoring and scaling. And it's quite sensitive to upgrades. Any software tools or platforms we are using on private clouds tends to be quite sensitive to upgrades. We also have a public cloud provider, and that mainly just like any public cloud providers, they're not super bound on strict business regulations. It's easier to handle and maintain, right? Because it's centralized, but obviously it's way more costly. Right, so how are we divided in engineering at EQS Group? We mainly have like a developers team, that's like software engineers, back-end, front-end engineers, they develop quite a lot of SDKs. We work with a lot of programming languages, and these applications are mainly connected to databases. And the other team is my team, the SRE team, that is providing also support to the developers, but also dealing with other infrastructure tasks. So we tend to we want to provide provide and maintain reliable systems. We manage the implementation of solutions, and we try to avoid any downtime and figure out what's the business case of developers if it fits within our current infrastructure. At the time being, right now we are just 5 of us, including me, and it's actually we have quite limited time, and we pass the time just dealing with a lot of projects. So private clouds, why we are using it and what is private cloud? So it's a type of cloud computing environment that is dedicated to a single organization. So it's designed to provide exclusive access and control. It can be used on-premise or by a third-party service provider. So here we work with T-Systems in Germany, Swisscom in Switzerland, and OVH in France. Why? because, like I said, we are very bound to business reasons, state regulations, so we need to store that data locally. Also, we need to maintain everything safe, no data breaches, and so forth. Right, so right now I'm just going to describe a bit historically what happened at EQS. I mean, it's a company that's been around for 20 years more, although it is like in the at the beginning they've never had any observability. They slowly morphed into having more observability, and this was due mainly to the DevOps team, right? We all like to say, throw around fancy words, so observability, monitoring, just came at some point in our infrastructure. And because of our developers, how they like to work with the databases and applications, we have a proprietary, so a commercial vendor that's focused, so we have just one, and all our applications are connected to that specific vendor. Besides that, we have another, like other platforms and tools for observability. We focus on open source in regards to metrics, so we use Prometheus, Grafana open source, so is not the cloud one, and Elasticsearch, Elasticstack for logging, also the free tier, so not the cloud one. So right now, at the moment, what happened is that a few years ago, we had this DevOps team that tried to implement some principles around automation, monitoring, and so forth. We realized that a lot of the idea was like a lot of the culture wasn't what we wanted to have, so we slowly morphed into the SRE world, into the SRE culture. So we implemented right now alerts, monitoring, rules, incident management, and everything came into form with the help of open source as well. So the idea right now, because we have this fragmented observability, we aim for unified observability if possible, a single pane of glass. That's like our ideal situation. What private cloud taught us? Private cloud mainly refers to security. So we need to have that data secured, no breaches there. We need to make sure that our customers are completely safe and they have full confidence in what's happening in the infrastructure. When it comes to private cloud, we always put priority on it. So any discussion, any strategy, any, let's say, design or architectural meeting, we aim to put a focus on private cloud, because if it doesn't compute well with private cloud, then it's not going to be a very good business case. So for us, everything begins and ends with private cloud. Also, the idea that less is more. We heard so many talks up to now that said, okay, about alert fatiguing, just trying to be more self-aware of the quantity of alerts and monitors that we have. So we try to be efficient and in the same time, in a positive way, stingy. Also, we aim to focus more on developers. So in case there is not a business case for developers, if they are not using it, then most likely a specific technology, it's not going to make out of POC. So we need to make them happy and also understand what they are looking for from a specific tool. Yeah, there are many platforms, technologies out there that just seem they're quite useful. But if its trend is not necessarily useful, right? So it doesn't mean that it's good. AI might be one of those issues. I mean, many companies are adopting a lot of technologies, but unless it's something that's, how can I say, makes sense to the entire workflow within our infrastructure, normally we are not going to put it in production. So we are very careful with the technologies, platforms that we use and how we pick those technologies. And obviously the cost. We need to think about the costs. We always try to even quarterly go through all the resources, infrastructure resources and so on, and try to understand, okay, can we bring this bill down? Does it make sense? Do we need so many things? Where can we bring the cost down? So that's something also important, and we are aware that we need to be stingy in that area. Right, so this is what we currently have in terms of architecture, observability architecture. Here is like a very simple explanation. How are the Kubernetes clusters interacting with all the observability platforms? So I'm going to take it step by step. So here, for example, in a Kubernetes cluster, we have different namespaces. So application namespace, Prometheus, Grafana, and another one called observability. So in the application namespace, we store the applications that will send the information, so the logs, the application logs to the third-party provider, to the commercial vendor. So we'll then, in the UI, obviously, we can check all the information we want in the APM provider. Within the Prometheus namespace, we have the local Prometheus agent installed. Also, that speaks with Kubernetes state metrics and sends the metrics to the central Prometheus. Why? Because we need to have a central Prometheus to speak with other clusters as well. So this is what happens there with the other cluster and obviously the entire infrastructure. And from the central Prometheus, we go back, communicate with the Grafana pod within the Grafana namespace. The user happily does its deal in the UI, so goes through the visualization in Grafana, gets the information regarding the Prometheus metrics. And in the observability namespace, we have file bit installed that will send information, the necessary information, to the backend in Elasticsearch. And obviously, Elasticsearch, right, sends it back to Kibana, and the user does the same thing in the UI, checks the logs. So easy peasy, right? Everything is there. Everything communicates. In the visualization part, I just wanted to show you that is true. We use very simple alerting, very simple visualization. It's not very customized, so you've seen a lot of pretty stuff from other companies. We want, as an objective, to maintain something really simple, not to cause any headaches, or just avoid anything that will trigger that alert fatigue, which is so annoying. Developers do have their own dashboard specific to their own projects. So they do have also in Grafana specific dashboards for specific applications or their metrics, also as well in the third-party APM provider. But this is something that we design as a SRE team for our own resources to keep in touch with how Kubernetes workload just acts in general. Right, in private cloud monitoring, the same. We have the clusters that, as you can see from the screenshot, they are named by each cloud provider. And the namespace is quite self-explanatory. We have the nodes, we have the containers, how many restarts, request CPU, so very basic. And in the alerting, the same. Overall, we use maybe 10 alerts, alerting rules in total, because we want to keep it very simple. Sorry. And also, all the deployments will be done via Argo CD and Helm charts. That's how we deploy things in the infrastructure. This is a screenshot of a POC we did for Grafana Alloy and Jaeger operator for Kubernetes. I will speak about it a bit later. And what are our current challenges at the moment? So this is a very open discussion. This presentation was aimed for people to understand the specific profile of a company, the specific limitations with private clouds, also with licensing and the exact, particularities I explained so far. So how basically put yourself in our shoes, how you can help yourself, right? So we want to migrate from the APM solution, so from the commercial vendor, and we are exploring a few things around. So one, it's super useful, this solution for our developers. They're used to it, they have been using for years, they're very happy. It's hosted, like I said, on one vendor. It's super costly, so yeah, that's the downside to it. We did try to think about, okay, can we use maybe synthetic monitoring in platforms like Grafana? Sure, but it comes only with Grafana cloud license. I got some very useful suggestions from Eric, so thank you for that. I'm pretty sure there are other projects out there, so I'm eager to learn all about it. Also, other vendors, open source, Elasticsearch at the moment, could be an alternative. So we did investigate that. We reverted back to our historical APM vendor because of the way it provides the information and the metrics. I mean, we are still keeping a very open eye on other platforms as well. We have to think about these private cloud limitations. And one thing that came also across on the table was distributed tracing. Why not try those solutions? So this is what we did. Recently, we got together and we POC'd OpenTelemetry for distributed tracing and see like, okay, how it reacts with specific SDKs, with our Kubernetes clusters. So we paired it with Jaeger operator just to communicate with a Kubernetes cluster. And we, yeah, so the experience was interesting. And I wanted to provide you some of this feedback. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna super promote out there OpenTelemetry. Everybody's experience is very, very different. And like I said, every company is very different according also to their own manpower and engineering power. In our case, we don't have so many developers and so many SREs that will just spend hours and hours just to make something work because you know, that's the objective in our life. So we invested a couple of weeks. We saw that OpenTelemetry has insufficient documentation, a lot of gaps in the official documentation, but also in the non-official documentation. So we didn't really like the part when we started to integrate OpenTelemetry collector with the SDKs. Then we looked at Jaeger. We saw that that works fine. Also, the developer experience was better with Jaeger operator. So we POC that with a few applications, and that went fine. So everything went fine in staging. However, we decided for the time being not to go to production with this. There's still a lot of work going on the profiling part in OpenTelemetry on this project. We also reached out to the community and we discussed this a few things. And yeah, hopefully next year they'll have a lot more feedback so we can revisit the same POC. Also, once we send the information via the Jaeger data source in Grafana, we didn't get surprised the same cool customization or the same visualizations like in the APM vendor. Why? Because it's not plug and play. You need to work on it, right? So everything comes with an effort, with an engineering effort. You have to spend time to customize it. So whatever you're going to see in an open source tool or platform is not going to be the same experience you're going to have from a commercial vendor. So for the time being, we got a lot of positive feedback just alone from this POC. So don't mind me being critical about it. I'm just saying the reality. We decided to shelf it for now and be on standby. We expect, let's say, the community to reach out more work with the profiling. Also regarding the documentation in general, that needs to be improved. And we need to stay open to any tools that are open source, and we are happily eager to just POC them. So yeah, the good thing is that this effort was brought by the SRE team, so we pushed this entire initiative from our side, not the other way around. And we were happy that we reached some collaboration within our own company, and we draw some very nice conclusions. So what's next? We need to further develop our open source strategy, definitely. we want to still maintain the tools that we have right now, like Grafana, Prometheus. Prometheus works very well for us in terms of granularity and metrics granularity. And we're going to try to integrate more applications with OpenTelemetry. So like I said, we use a bunch of SDKs. We only POC'd 3 of them. So yeah, still it's a lot of work to be done. We want to move away from this observability fragmentation and possibly achieve a unified, centralized platform. And yeah, just stay open in general to any POCs and keep giving back to the developers. We need to improve a lot of things. So, like I said, open source projects in general come with a lot of customization. It's nothing easy, right? So it's not. I'm not going to speak about, okay, it's plug and play. There you have it. So developers, yeah, they need to find time that sometimes they don't have to correctly, customize their own applications. Also, the part with the dashboards. Potential alerting that comes from this project. We still want to move away from this third-party solution, from the APM solution. Once we will, let's say, potentially pick one solution, we need to plan and solve any capacity, scaling, or data ingestion questions, right? So that means where to centralize the data, how many metrics we want to pull and ingest, and which data to choose from, and the incident management. So because we have a company that has been around on the market for 20-something years, it works with a lot of tools, a lot of platforms. Most of them are still, they're legacy. Many of them are not monitored. So we need to keep at least an uptime status of internal tools, and we would like to do that as well. And on, let's say, the soft skills, but it's not really soft skills that much. It's just about a culture issue. We need to be more accountable and take more ownership on our work. That means developers from one side and SR is the same. This goes to the last bullet point there, to communication. Sometimes we just realize just by talking to each other that we live in different worlds. Developers easily don't understand what SREs are doing and the other way around. So we need to bridge that gap and start communicating more and understanding each other's cases. Why? Because in the future we can help each other better, right? Right, so just to sum it up here, I expect not necessarily questions, but also suggestions from your side. This is like something, like a scenario that's real, that's happening, and if you see yourself in this type of scenario, please do reach out. We want to hear your feedback. And just to finish this, if you're a fan or not of OpenTelemetry, I'm just going to give it a shout to this project. So in the last few months, we worked, some contributors, myself included, work on OpenTelemetry Certified Associate certification that's currently available to the public. It goes live in January next year. So we'd love to have your feedback. So yeah, if you have feedback on this, please reach out to me. I'm going to be around today and tomorrow. You're going to have the slides already on my GitHub repo, so you can download it. Yeah, and just stay in touch in general on LinkedIn. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Diana. We have some time left for open questions. Nobody. Okay, thank you very much. Diana will be around, as mentioned, for today and tomorrow. So if you come up with something, you can catch her in the hallway. Once again, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks for your talk.
Yep, thank you.